What's going on, guys? It's Sootch Live. We do so many on Sensible Prepper. I started to say Sensible Prepper Live. But we've got some really cool things to talk about today. And we have Robbie Wheaton from Wheaton Arms and the Robbie Wheaton YouTube channel. I think there's a link. Typically, there's a link down below in Sensible Prepper, but not in Sootch, which we need to have, I think. But check out Robbie Wheaton's channel. He's been a gunsmith for over 20 years. Did a lot of STI builds.
Yeah,
lots of them, and
a lot of prodigy work now.
Yeah. Does all kind of Glock aftermarket barrels, triggers, some of the best trigger on the market. He actually supplies Palmetto State with their upgrade triggers for their daggers. Just a great guy, and we're really glad to have him, especially on the gun side. We do a lot of stuff with the survival side, but we decided today to jump into new guns.
Yep.
And the big thing is we were just at the NRA show, regardless of how you feel about the NRA, because Lord knows they need some help. But we were going to the show mainly to support the gun industry. And man, there was a lot of cool stuff. You know, guys, I say all the time, we live in the golden age of firearms.
Yep.
It is getting more and more golden. It's just beautiful. Some of these guns that were the first time I saw them was this weekend in Indy. And some of them I have known about. So we may or may not be able to answer all your technical questions, but we just want to talk about some different ones. And a lot of these are coming up for review, which makes it really nice as well.
Well, it's really cool to see, you know, at SHOT Show, a lot of companies release new firearms at SHOT every year in January, February. And that's an industry trade show just for people that are in the industry. The thing that I really like about NRA, and like I said, no matter how you feel about the NRA, one thing that they do right is their national convention. They should be able to get firearms manufacturers, the media, and just the average citizen together to where they can actually commingle with one another and get to see a lot of new stuff.
So, and again, he's right. I mean, it is a great time for just anybody to come, and you can put your hands on them. I mean, you can touch them and, you know, see what they are. And that is even better than possibly a video. Plus, you can talk to the experts.
Right.
So we're going to go through this list. We have a lot of things to talk about. And so we really want to we just thought it'd be pretty exciting. Yeah. I am excited. I mean, I am really excited about what's coming up. And so I thought I'd pass some of these along. So the first one that I really want to kind of bring up is the new FN Reflex. And this is a small 9mm compact double stack micro 9. And I'd heard they'd come out with it.
Yep.
And so I was like, you know, we're going to go by the booth. And so actually I was working with Get Zone, and they were doing some interviews with some of the booths, and it's on their Get Zone Instagram, and it'll be on the Instagram. I mean, the Get Zone, getzone.com. It'll be on their website. Thank you, Robbie. I'm needing some help today. Guys, I'll just tell you, I was at the range and I looked down and it was 15 till, and I was like, so I was grabbing stuff and bringing it up. But the Reflex, one of the things that really struck me, and I know you haven't, I mean, I'd never seen it before.
I'm actually familiar with it.
Okay, good. Well, then we can get some input. One of the things about the Reflex to me, because a lot of times when you have these micro 9s, they have their form factor is a little bit, you know, it's how they design it, and that's fine. But one of the things about the Reflex, which really impressed me, was the size of it. I mean, the silhouette was like really nice. It was really thin. The grip has a lot of texturing to it, and it's just small. I mean, it's concealable.
Yeah, and it's 11+1 and 15+1 with capacity.
That's right. That's right. And in fact, I had one of the guys that actually was the designer there that was talking, and so he really had a lot of information about it. But it's optics ready, but it's a really small, thin, concealed carry option with that little bit higher round capacity, and it falls in that really sweet spot size.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing when I left, I just kept messing with it after, you know, we finished the interview and everything. And I kept just handling it and looking at it and going, this is a great size.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really hit all the hot points with it. You know, it's just a really nice looking pistol. Fits your hand well. The magazines, the extra capacity that, you know, you've got your 365, your SIG P365s, and the Hellcats and stuff that are really popular. And I think this one is going to be a really good option other than the Hellcat or the 365. So it's nice to see other companies starting to really dip into that micro 9 market.
Now, we were driving, going to Indy, we're driving down the road. I had pulled up my Instagram, and came across the Henry Big Boy revolver. And I was like, what? I mean, I understand. I was like, what the heck? And actually, that was the first booth that I stopped at because I was like, I've got to check this out. I just wanted to see what it was about. Now, the thing is, it's a little bit of a more traditional, classic looking.
It looks like a Mosin Nagant with a Colt bird's head grip on it.
Well, it has also the gunfighter grip.
Yeah.
Which to me is a lot more suitable. I think a shorter barrel would be better, but a lot of people like the bird's head.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's got an exposed ejector rod, and it's nicely styled though. But this is the thing that the guys at Henry said. They said they were looking to put a revolver that is in the Henry line. And you know what? It does. It falls within the Henry line.
It does. It's like that retro late 1800s, early 1900s revolver. It really fits in that genre.
Right.
But it's not like a lot of Henry's rifles, which are knockoffs of or reproductions of older firearms. It's kind of a mishmash of a lot of the old revolvers from the late 1800s, early 1900s that they kind of went through, and they're like, yeah, I like that feature, and I like that feature, and yeah, that's pretty cool too. Let's put all that together in a revolver.
Right.
And it's very unique. It's a very unique pistol.
It really is. It's just got a different look. And one of the things that was funny, because I posted a couple of things.
But the bluing on it,
yeah,
dude,
it's
they
nice.
killed it with the bluing.
It's nice, and the grips are really beautiful. It's the same wood that they have on their lever actions. All American made, 357 Magnum 38, double action. And that was one of the things they said. A lot of people were like, double action? Yeah. You know, why didn't you come up with a single action? And, you know, the one thing he said and that's another thing. They have a lot of guns to compete with in the double action category. Yep. So this just kind of makes it a different gun. And what they said was, they're making them. They're beautiful. They're pricey because Henrys typically have a lot of quality to them. But he said the thing, their market is really Henry customers.
Yeah.
More than just whoever.
Well, the guy that's looking for a very traditionally styled revolver is going to instantly be drawn to that pistol.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody that's a Smith & Wesson fan, or, you know, a Colt Anaconda or a Colt Python fan, you know, they're right. Or the Rugers, exactly. The SP101s and stuff. It's probably not going to be their market.
Right.
But the guy that's looking for that traditionally styled firearm is going to instantly be drawn to it.
Right. It's just kind of a style thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. And there were a lot of comments going, you know, but there were a lot of great comments, and people that said, I've already ordered one, you know, and honestly, I love it. I love revolvers, and I'm not going to carry a 4-inch revolver typically as a concealed carry.
Yep.
It's something that I would take out to the range and just enjoy. And I'm a big fan of Henry. So, I mean, it really falls into that niche. And then next, and Henry's really put out some things lately. Then the Homesteader, you know, which we've already done a review on it. But it's a different look. And a lot of people are like, well, I'll take the Ruger for half the price. And understand, because I've got one. They're great.
So my take on the Henry, their little 9mm carbine, their Homesteader, it reminds me of my first BB gun that I had when I was a kid, right?
I don't know if that's good or bad. Is that good?
The Daisy Power Line, was it the 870 or 877?
760.
No, not the 760. It's the one that's got like a little humpback on it, kind of like the Brownings. But just the styling of that rifle really reminded me of it. And I was instantly drawn to it. Just the look and everything. I was like, man, that just takes me back to my childhood.
Well, the wood on it is beautiful. I mean, it is more of a ranch type homesteader firearm. I think they named it appropriately. And so it really kind of gives you this retro look. Really kind of reminds me of the old Brownings, semi-automatics.
That's right.
Or the Ruger Camp 9 carbines. You know, Ruger came out with a number of different carbines. And so it really kind of goes back to that. And I think when I was showing it, I brought out the 30 caliber carbine because it kind of gives you that wood kind of vintage, which is what Henry does. They're not making, I mean, they do have some synthetic stocks on some of their guns, but most of them are that traditional Americana. And so, anyway, that's just going to be one to me that's really cool, but it's going to be certain people are going to like that.
Yep.
And the other people that want a real functioning tactical type gun, they're going to go to the Ruger, you know, and
well, there's a lot of aftermarket tactical accessories available for the Ruger, and the Henry it's a different market. It is a very traditionally styled rifle. And, you know, I'd love to see it with some larger capacity magazines.
Well, you can get the 30 round mag. You use Glock mags.
That's right. It's got that different adapter for the Glock mag.
So you can go with Sig and Smith. They fit the same mag pattern.
Yep.
And then Glock, and then the Henry. Now, I did not get to test the Henry. It had a 5 and a 10 round mag, right? Henry mags. And I just didn't end up going to the range. I know Honest Outlaw had some issues with the Henry mags, but you know, the Glock mags, I mean, my gosh, you know, I mean, it got 33 rounds or whatever. So, not that we can use that on YouTube, but you know, that it's just got a lot of capacity. And let's see, next with Henry, which is an unusual, this is kind of, I was kind of like, what? But it's the 360 buck hammer. And this is taken, the parent case is a 30-30. And it's a straight walled case, 180 to 200 grain.
That's right.
Bullet.
180 to 200 grain projectile.
Very flat shooting out to about 200 yards, but it gives you a lot flatter trajectory than 30-30. And it gives you a lot softer recoil than 45-70 and 460 Bushmaster.
It's a nice intermediate cartridge, you know, for a straight wall cartridge. I think it's what, a 355 or 360 diameter on the projectile, and around 2,500 foot per second out of a little carbine.
Yeah.
But you know, for a brush gun, a little lever action brush gun, it would be a great one.
Right.
Great one.
Well, they were really excited about that caliber. And Henry, I mean, they have the 45 set, they have all the different calibers, but this is one that they just went for, which I thought was kind of unique.
And Remington's on board doing the ammunition for it.
Right.
So
that's right.
Nice to see that. That's right.
Yeah. So Henry, a lot of stuff. Taurus, guys, you know, they're just completely impressing me. And it's really funny because I've not been a Taurus fan traditionally. And I say that in every video that I bring it up. I'm like, man, Taurus was having issues, but man, they have really stepped it up.
They have really stepped their game up. Absolutely.
They have stepped it up beyond now. Their new executive line revolvers. Now, I've been seeing them, looking at them, you know, and they look really nice. So I was really wanting to check them out. I was very impressed.
See, I'm not familiar with the executive yet. So I have not seen those, and I cannot wait to get my hands on one.
They are impressive. The finish, the fit, the grips, everything about it. It honestly, it's like picking up a Kimber revolver. I mean, and to me, Kimber, one of the big things about Kimber is, and which we'll get to in a minute because they've got some new stuff, is that their finishing is some of the best on the market. And Kimber went through its rough spot, but it seems to have really come out. But this executive is like very refined, and yet they want to keep the price down.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, I talked to one of their guys over there, and he said, here's the thing. We have the knowledge and the know-how, and we brought in some really big engineers that have come in and designed this to do the best that we can do, taking all of our knowledge and really putting it into this type firearm. And it shows. It really does. And they've even got the judge, which I almost didn't recognize it. It's so well done. And I've got one of the judges. I love it. I have it in my shop up in the rafter if I can need to, you know, for bumping the night in my shop, which is my shop now. But those things are just crazy. But this is going to be pretty impressive.
So what kind of finishes are they doing on the executive?
Well, stainless. And it's like a matte stainless, but it is like so nicely done, you know, and the wood, the way it blends together. It's the most beautiful Taurus I've ever seen, and it's probably as beautiful as any double action revolver out on the market.
But you know, a few years ago they did the Raging Bull, and I always thought the Raging Bull was a really, really nicely finished revolver. The stainless steel, that satin finish on it, and then the grips and all. It was a really nice revolver.
And that's probably where they're kind of taking it up a notch again. Yeah. But just very, I mean, and again, guys, I have not been the biggest Taurus fan. So this was really something that, I mean, I want one. Yeah, I want one. Of course, everybody's going, you want everything. I'm like, well, yeah, I do. So the Beretta 80X, we'll talk about that. You know, I'm a big Model 86, 81, 84, you know, all those. I love the Beretta Cheetah series. Yep. And I love the way they shoot, you know, and they kind of fell out of favor, but they've come back in popularity. So Beretta just said, let's just upgrade this thing. Yeah. And I was kind of like the accessory rail. I was kind of like, man, it takes away from the classic look, but it fits.
I like it.
It fits the form.
You know, that to me, that pistol is like the ideal carry size if it was in 9mm. That's the only, and it's just me, my personal opinion on it. You know, I've got
a lot of people have said that.
I've got one. You know, I don't mind expressing it sometimes, but the APX, if that pistol was available in that exact same size and exact same configuration in 9mm, would be an absolute home run.
Yeah.
I think the 380 is the only thing that, for me, that kind of steers me away from it a little bit. Now, for someone that's looking for a pistol that has a little lower recoil, a little less muzzle flip, if you're wanting to get a full size, semi-full size handgun for a woman shooter, or someone, you know, a smaller person, smaller hands, it fits the bill for them perfectly. But you know, I would love to see it offered in 9mm.
Right. Yeah. But this is my side of it, because I agree with you.
Yep.
I mean, there is some, and there's a lot of people in the comments I noticed that were like, nah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. 380 is softer recoiling, and it's one of the things to think about. Getting the shot on target is number one.
That's right.
And so, and being able to place shots on target, one of the things about the little bit lesser recoil firearms is you're going to be able to get second and third follow-up shots. And with self-defense ammunition like it is now,
it's very reliable and very dependable
and very ballistically great.
Effective.
Yeah, very effective. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But it's you really. But so to me, 380, while it is a step down from 9, it can give you a lot of performance, and it can get you faster on target, more confident with the firearm. So, you know, and again, that's the great thing about it. There's so many choices. You don't have to have it. You know, you can have what you want. But I was really glad to see them coming back with the 380. And then Beretta came out with their APX A1 Compact. They had come out with their A1 before, and now they come out with a compact. And you know, it's a lot like the Walther PDF kind of series gun, but it's a striker fire pistol. But the big thing I'm really excited about was the ADX. I mean, that was the big one. Okay, let's go back to, we talked about Taurus. Taurus owns Rossi. And my first handgun, the first I ever went out and actually bought, was a Rossi Model 88, 3-inch barrel. And, you know, I traded it off years ago, but I bought another one. And it was amazing how close that was to the Smith & Wesson Model 60.
That's right.
But one of the things about it is that it was deemed as kind of a budget firearm. And it is. It was a fairly reasonable gun. They're not now. When you go try to find one on Gun Broker, they're not cheap. I mean, they're not super expensive. But Taurus has taken Rossi, because they discontinued that line for a while. They brought back the revolver line. It is going to be, according to Taurus, a better revolver than the Tauruses. It's a step up.
Wow.
And the trigger is awesome. And they had some 357s with the 4-inch barrel, 6-inch barrel that are sitting there, and they're super thin.
Ooh.
Oh, they are. I mean, I was impressed with that. I was like, okay, you guys have me all over the place. But the Taurus revolvers, watch for those and when they come in. I mean, Rossi. Well, the Taurus executive, but yeah, I meant Rossi. The Rossi revolvers, very impressive again. So Taurus executives, the Rossi's coming in. I'm telling you guys, it's just the golden age of firearms. We keep seeing all this stuff. And then Rossi has introduced, and I think they already had some of these already, but they have reintroduced a lot of their lever actions and their 94. So they're like the Winchester 94 with a top eject, which a lot of people just like because it's so smooth.
They are.
I mean, it's a smooth action.
And are those going to be in 30-30 and some of your more traditional calibers that you'd see?
45-70. Of course, you know, your 22s and stuff like that. But yes, it's going to be in your standard center fire calibers. And the fit and finish on those, I mean, it was like slick. It was like glass. It was smooth. So it's really awesome to see this company coming back into the limelight and really producing a lot of cool stuff. You know, which I didn't really realize this. I kind of had an idea that Heritage Revolvers, that's owned by Taurus. And I didn't realize that. And I've got a review coming up of the Heritage, which is just fascinating. It's just a fascinating option because I've always looked at them and thought, man, those are cheap. And
doing the little single action.
I kind of changed some of my opinions about that gun. But
they're an impressive little revolver.
They really are. I mean, for $119 for just a 22, that's ridiculous.
And they've got the ones that have you can swap out cylinders with them.
That's what I got.
22 and 22 Magnum.
In fact, we're going to do a comparison with the new Ruger Super Wrangler, which leads us to the Ruger Super Wrangler. Love the little Wrangler. You know, it was an inexpensive model of the single six, and I love the single six, man, and the bluing and just the finish and everything. I mean, it's nice. And then they came out with the Wrangler, which was nice. It was a Cerakote finish. It was just a budget little single action, which was great. I mean, I thought it was great. But then they've come out now with the Super Wrangler with adjustable sights. And it's just it's got the two chamber, two cylinders, and a 22 Magnum, and that is a really nice pistol, and that's something new from Ruger. Plus, they came out with their Security 380, and that's been out for just a little bit, but that was a gun that really kind of flew under the radar, and we did a review on it, and it was a very popular result from that review.
Yep.
But nice little, easy to pull back on the slide. Made really, I mean, this is what I'm loving about the gun industry right now. They are producing guns toward female shooters.
Yes.
Yep. And those are our most vulnerable. Here's the funny thing, like the PDF, like the Walther PDF or the PDPF. It is, I love shooting it. I love shooting it actually a little more than I do the PDP. So, you got these guns that are really designed for female shooters, those that are recoil sensitive, those that have more experience, and you're giving them something, not just a little pocket perk gun, but something that they can take to the range and really get into firearms. And I think that's awesome. I love it. I love seeing it. Smith & Wesson did it with the EZ.
Well, you think about it, for decades, the firearm industry targeted, basically males.
Right.
It was a male influenced, male dominated market. And it's really nice to see these companies really starting to branch out and realizing that there is an entire female market that is untapped.
Right.
And women, for the first time ever, are taking self-defense very seriously and realizing that it is their responsibility to protect themselves. And the industry, it's nice to see the industry providing them with the tools to be able to do that.
That's right. As long as the states will let them carry.
Right.
But yeah, there are some really great options that are coming out, and that security. And the great thing is with the Security 380 is it is a fairly inexpensive option, and you're getting 380, and you're getting a double stack 15 round magazine. One that I really was impressed with is the new Flight Light, and this is kind of an odd bird.
Yeah,
is the Flight Light lever action AR-15. And there are a couple of different ones out there, but this one, you can take your existing upper and put it on to the lower of this lever action. Yeah. And it's because, it's funny, lever actions have really become popular to tack them out, and I know Chris Costa's done a lot of that work.
Yep.
And really cool. I mean, it's really cool. But here's the thing, guys, and some people are going, it's just just something, a range toy. But here's the thing, if you live in a state, because one of the things that they've said is they were legal in every state, all 50 states. I think now, though, they've had some gun law changes, and I think they lost 2 states.
Maybe Washington State.
And maybe California even. Yeah. But the one thing is if you live in a state that you can't have a higher capacity magazine, or because it uses AR-15 magazines.
Right. Well, that was the thing that it was able to bypass, because most of your high capacity magazines for AR-15s are designed for semi-automatic rifles, where the lever action and the bolt actions and different type firearms like that, they're not restricted for those particular firearms, only for the semi-automatic firearms.
Right. So it gives you that capacity that you can have and still have, and lever actions are fast.
Yes.
I've always said if they ban AR-15s or whatever, which they're not going to because we're not going to let them. But if they happen to have done that sometime, that lever action is super fast, and I really like it. So I just think it's a cool option. And if it gives people in states that are living under tyranny, then it gives them an option to have something, to be in compliance with, the bull crap. Plus, they make belt fed. They make the belt fed ARs.
I thought you was going to say a belt fed lever action. I was like, I've got to see.
Well, you might be able to put it. That would be funny. Oh, okay. Graham Power. Now, Graham Power Streetbogs, if you watch the channel, you know that I am a huge fan of the Graham Powers. They're made in Slovakia. They're made as submachine guns. They've gone through a number of iterations with Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and, Glock Mag 1 and all this stuff. But with the new brace scare and we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with that. But they have a carbine now, the Grand Power Streebog carbine. Great little gun. In fact, and I was like kind of concerned because I'd kind of heard some rumors, so I went by and saw them. They're actually pretty nice little guns. I mean, and they're very form fitting. I mean, they're really nice form, and so I was really impressed with it. But here's what I'm really impressed with: they have retro kits now. They're going to be coming out where you can take your existing Streebog if you find out that if ATF gets their way, which we're hoping they're not, or you just may want to make it into a carbine.
Yeah.
But it'll have the 16-inch barrel. And one of the problems with a lot of these guns, especially the imported, is the barrels are pressed and they're fitted a certain way, and you can't just change the barrel out like you can an AR.
Right. Or like your AK-47,
right,
where the barrels are pressed into the trunnion and you're pretty much stuck with what you've got.
Right. So if you've got a small little Draco, that's what you got.
Yeah.
But with this, you can actually, the way it's set up, you can actually remove the barrel nut and put a 16-inch barrel on it, and they have the stock kits and everything. So I was pretty excited to see that because I have like 3 Streebogs, and I'm going, they're not really that user friendly when you don't have anything on the back and you're holding it out like this. And so it makes it nice to have that option. So in fact, I told him, I said, look, I would really like to do a video. I can't do it on YouTube because it's a modification. But what I could do is when I'll do a carbine video and then say, hey, you guys want to see that, you can go to Get Zone where we do a lot of our videos there. And we can, and let you check that out. Okay. And I didn't say this one. This is the last on our list, but we have some others too. But the Kimber, guys, I'm telling you, Kimber has really stepped it up. I mean, over the past few years, they went through a little slump for a little while, for a few years, and some of their problems, but they got rid of those guys and they brought in some real just professionals that brought their brand back up. And so, and I've done some Kimber reviews, and they're just excellent guns. I mean, they've come back to be really world-class guns. But they've come out now, and and I got to make sure I get the numbers right. Yeah, the KDS 9C. Now, it's a 1911 with a high-capacity magazine, 15+1. So it's a lot like the...
it looks like the Wilson.
The Wilson. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yep. It's like double the price.
Yeah.
At least
$3,500.
Yeah,
or
maybe
something.
more. And I did a review on that. It's the 9CE or something.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the nomenclature was for that one, and it's not coming to me.
But it looks like it. I mean, and it has an aluminum frame instead of the 2011 type, polymer housing. And so it has 15+1 capacity. It is smooth, slick. It's beautiful. So
proprietary magazines with it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it is.
Yep.
I think it is, but I'm not positive. I'll have to look and see, but or you can look that up yourself. But Google's a friend. But yeah, Kimber with this new KDS 9C. It's easier to say than it is to remember.
Yeah.
And then, which is another thing. This is one of the things about you guys, and some of you guys don't even care about revolvers. But I just want to say, get yourself a nice revolver, just one revolver. If you have all these semi-automatic polymer frame, striker fire, or even double single action pistols, there is something about a revolver that just expands your experience in the firearm world.
Well, it's one of those, I think, kind of going along with what you said, I think everybody should have a 357 Magnum revolver. It is just it may not be your everyday, but it might be your one day.
Right.
So I
like that.
It's good to have a 357 Magnum. Ammunition goes scarce again, like it has, multiple times in the last 15 years. A lot of times you can still find ammo. One of the last ammunition to go off the shelf is 38 and 357.
Of course, it's one of the last to come back.
It's one of the last to come back too, but it's one of the last to go. And that's why it's nice to have one of those sitting around just in case.
Well, it gives you that extra power. So Kimber has just introduced their K6XS series, and it's an aluminum frame, and the price has come down from some of their all steel frames, because I have one of the K6S. In fact, I've got a 4-inch and a little 2-inch, 2.5-inch, and those are beautiful revolvers, but they're heavy, and so this gives you that aluminum alloy frame. So and it's got that Kimber beautiful quality to it. And so you check those out. I think those are pretty nice. And again, Kimber has been putting out some stuff as well. And I'll tell you guys. And one thing, this is gun related, but it's not guns. Burris. Now the Eliminator 5, it had this, you could put the scope out there and you could hit it at your target, and it would give you the range. It would range it for you. And it would actually line up your reticle, which that was a freaking phenomenal scope.
Yeah, it was really the first optic out there that gave you a ballistic solution for long range shooting based off of a laser rangefinder built into the scope, where you could range the scope and then it would pop a dot up on the screen to where you would hold for that holdover for that particular distance.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal, and it does it. It works. But now they've come out with some newer models, kind of along a little bit different line. They're not as expensive, but yet, they're good scopes, though. I mean, they're not cheap. But Burris has really done a lot, and that's really where the U.S. military is going to, was those kind of scopes where they can range them out and they can hit those targets at different unknown distances.
Yep.
Another optic is Holosun is now introduced a thermal.
Yes, they have.
It's about $2,000.
Yeah.
Which is freaking crazy.
Yep.
And a night vision scope.
And Psionics has a new night vision that's coming out as well, a new thermal that's coming out as well.
I've been very impressed with Psionics too. Yeah. But Holosun's really done a lot in the market. And to me, they're dominating the red dot market.
I tell you, I think personally, they're the best red dot on the market.
Right.
Battery trays on the top, click adjustable windage and elevation settings on it, fits a RMR footprint, so it's compatible with any slide that's milled for RMR. They're extremely durable. I've had very few of them that I've seen go bad. And matter of fact, I've only had one that was bad, and it was bad literally right out of the box.
Right.
And sent it back. My personal everyday carry is a 19X, and I've got one of the Holosuns with an ACSS reticle in it from Primary Arms. And it stays on constantly, 24 hours a day. And it's got a couple of different settings on it. They've got the setting where, it's got a setting that'll dim the sight, if you're in a dark room, or it'll brighten it if you're in the light. I run it on the manual setting, ran wide open all the time.
Wow.
And 3.5 years since I've replaced the battery in it. And the battery, I got it out to shoot it the other day. And when I pulled it out to shoot it, the outside circle was gone, and I just had my chevron in the center. And I was like, oh, time for a new battery. But 3.5 years running wide open with that sight before I had to replace a battery in it.
The new Lionheart's one. The new Lionheart, they had the Regulus, and they've upgraded it, and it's a beautiful double single action. Lionheart really put out, that was really nice. I'm trying to think, because there are two guns that I failed to mention. I didn't actually put them on the list, but I meant to mention them. That is the Glock new Gen 5 Model 20 and Model 21, which is I've been waiting on, and I bought the others, and then had the others, Gen 3 and Gen 4, and now they finally come out with the Gen 5. It really reduces the grip, makes it nicer. It gives you the internals of the Gen 5, and that's a nice one. Of course, the Glock trigger, the new enhanced trigger, which is a totally different feel to it, and
completely different design than anything they have.
And they can't keep them in stock. I mean, they're selling them as fast as they can make them, and so that's going to improve your trigger pull. But one gun, and it's funny because it caught a lot of flack. It was the 47, and it didn't catch flack because there was something wrong with it. It just, people were going, why? But here's the thing, and this is why Glock designed it. They said, we've got your G19X frame, you got your longer G17 slide with a shroud at the bottom of that slide, so you can use it as a Glock 17, or you can take that slide off and put a Glock 19, and you can use it as a G45 or G19X.
Right.
So it just gives you more options. And the one thing is, guys, is when these companies come out with new guns, they don't have to be earth-shattering. It's just nice that they're progressing and all giving us more and more options.
Yep.
So when Glock, I talked to him, and so I'm going to get the G47 because I think it's a really cool option. I don't think it's earth-shattering. I've got a 19, and I got a 19X and a 45, and I got them all. But, the thing is, this is just something that, and the FBI was asking for that particular design. So that in itself makes it kind of neat that they've asked and requested for this type of gun.
Yep.
So,
and one thing to keep in mind too with the new G20 and the new G21, it uses a different barrel, a different locking system, and a different recoil system. So you won't be able to buy the 20 or 21 and use any of your Gen 1 through 4 barrels or guide rods or anything in it. They're not compatible, kind of like with the Gen 5 17.
Right.
It's going to be its own standalone barrel, its own standalone recoil system that will work in those particular pistols.
And I have a G21 coming, so we're going to be a Gen 5.
Yep.
So we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be comparing it.
Yeah, maybe
so
do a little comparison contrast between the 1 through 4s and the 5s.
All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up. Looks like it's about that time. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of stuff to talk about. Guys, coming up, a lot of this stuff is either already in your gun shop or it's headed that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just, again, it's just really thrilling to see a lot of the guns. You know, it's funny, over the years, especially back in the 80s and 90s, I mean, people would have, you know, maybe 12 guns. You know, that was kind of like, I think, the average for a gun owner.
Yeah.
It was about 12. And that number has had to have like quadrupled.
Yeah.
Because people now are starting to buy firearms and buy multiple firearms, and something new comes out and they buy it and they try it out. And, you know, and so there's just a lot of options out there. And it's really cool to see these companies continuing to innovate, continuing to get better and better.
Mm-hmm.
So
then it's nice to see ammunition available again and back down to almost normal pre-COVID prices.
Right.
Stock up while it is.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, definitely, guys. We've said this, and we said this the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Get your ammunition, have it put back. It's a great investment because it will happen again.
That's right. That's right.
And it will happen. We've had it 8 times where ammunition has disappeared off the shelves, and it took a long time for it to come back.
You know, election year coming up next year, and ammunition generally starts drying up toward election years. So, you know, we've got it. It's available. Prices are way down. Stock up now. Like I said, it's an investment. Even if you buy it, don't use it, it skyrockets next year. You can always sell it.
That's right. You can sell it, make some good money.
That's right.
So, guys, we really appreciate Robbie Wheaton for being here. Again, check out his YouTube channel, Robbie Wheaton. Wheaton Arms is his business, and check that out. He does a lot of custom gun work.
Yep.
And he also has Glock aftermarket parts and accessories. The flat face trigger is the best for your Glock 19. The best. And
they're back in stock.
We're good. Well, and we really appreciate Robbie for being here, and just a lot of knowledge. So we're going to sign off. Be strong. Be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.